Although listeners may be more familiar with the word emotion, according to the definition used by Western scholars, the word emotion will be used in this talk to represent this new concept. This clarification is important because sometimes two people can use the same word while meaning different things. If we do not first agree on what we are discussing, even an excellent method may become difficult to understand. Therefore, throughout this series, when I use the word emotion, please keep in mind the particular meaning introduced in this discussion. Positive and negative emotions. An emotion can be either positive, such as joy and happiness, or negative, such as anger, fear, sorrow, and disgust. But emotional management does not mean removing all negative emotions. Some of them are necessary for the existence of a person and for the existence of society. Fear is a good example. Imagine that a person is walking across a road and suddenly sees a vehicle approaching at high speed. Fear can produce an immediate protective response. Without that response, the person might simply continue walking and put his or her life in danger. Similarly, a certain degree of concern can encourage us to prepare for an examination, complete an important task, or protect our family. Therefore, the objective cannot simply be remove all negative emotions. That would neither be realistic nor desirable. In certain circumstances, an emotion such as fear may actually need to be enhanced because it serves a useful purpose. The real question is therefore, when is an emotion useful? When does it become harmful? And how can we manage our response to it? The limits of emotional management. Actually, it is impossible to remove all harmful emotions from human life unless the person concerned can achieve a very high degree of spiritual development. The general concern that emotional management techniques proposed in ancient Eastern philosophies are meant for monks or saints is in fact based on the guidelines given to those who seek spiritual development and wish to achieve higher levels of mental states. But this book and this series are intended for average people. Therefore, emotional management here is not directed towards achieving those higher states. The objective is much more practical. It is to help an ordinary person live a better life. If someone becomes angry 10 times a day, perhaps the objective is not to make that person completely free from anger overnight. The first objective may simply be to reduce the intensity, frequency, and harmful consequences of those angry reactions. If a person constantly worries about situations that cannot be controlled, the objective may be to help that person respond more appropriately. Small improvements in emotional management can produce significant improvements in family life, professional life, and social relationships. Back emotional management in modern life. As the solution required for the current problem is based on modern life, it has to be in accordance with the current way of life as defined by the legal system, socio-economic norms, and cultural practices. As such, it has to be considered an emotional management methodology that facilitates overall improvement. This is an important principle. We cannot simply take a practice developed thousands of years ago and assume that every aspect of it can be transferred unchanged into modern society. Modern people have different responsibilities. We live under modern legal systems. We work within modern economic structures. We have families, jobs, businesses, educational responsibilities, and social obligations. Therefore, any practical system of emotional management must fit into this reality. The person should be able to practice it while continuing to live an ordinary life. The social dimension of emotional management. Finally, a system intended to achieve overall improvement has to consider feedback mechanisms. Emotions are associated with external indicators, and thereby they can create a certain level of influence on the emotions of others. Therefore, the methods adopted should include broader objectives related to the social dimension, in addition to individual benefits. This is an extremely important point. Our emotions do not remain inside us. They influence the people around us. A frightened parent may make a child frightened. An angry manager may create anxiety throughout an entire workplace. A calm teacher may create confidence among students. A compassionate person may reduce the emotional suffering of another person.